The true cost of a foul. NetWins digs into 50 years of box score data to answer the question that every NBA coach thinks they know the answer to, and most of them don't. Every NBA player in history has a coach bark some version of the same sentence at him: don't foul. It's the most universal instruction in basketball, but here's what almost nobody has ever calculated. What does a foul actually cost in points? Not foul trouble costs us the game, not vibes, points. Real measurable points surrendered per possession, per personal foul committed. The answer is more nuanced and interesting than you'd think. Thanks for reading NetWins. The post is public, so feel free to share it. It's at netwins.substack.com. So the setup, why this is harder than it looked to do. The intuitive assumption is that a personal foul equals 2 free throws, but that's almost never true. Consider everything that happens when a foul is called. There's non-shooting fouls before the bonus. The foul team gets the ball back, but no free throws at all. Non-shooting fouls in the bonus, 1 free throw, then a live ball, the old 1-and-1, or 2 shots once you deepen the penalty. Shooting fouls, the number of free throws matches the shot attempted, 2 for most attempts, 3 for a fouled three-pointer, and sometimes just 1 additional one if a three-pointer was made in the act of. Flagrant fouls, automatic free throws plus possession. So there's a lot of different ways this can happen. The reality is a blend of all these actions across 32 teams, 82 games, and hundreds of thousands of possessions. So NetWins went to the data. NetWins is a reader-supported publication. To receive new posts and support my work, consider becoming a free or paid subscriber. The ultimate number, 0.925. Using the complete NetWins database, every NBA season, we took from 77, 78 through 20, 25, 26, with multi-team player rows properly deduplicated. Here's what one personal foul actually produces for the opposing offense: 1.182 free throw attempts, 0.925 free throw points. That's the 20, 25, 26 figure. The all-time post-merger average is 0.875 points per foul, with free throws attempted per foul at 1.155. So a foul does not cost 2 points. It costs closer to 1 point. And the reason it costs slightly more than 1 rather than less is that today's NBA players are the best free throw shooters in history. League-wide free throw percentage has never been higher than the modern era, 78.3% in 25-26, up from roughly 75% in the Bad Boys era. The blend math works out more cleanly. More than 1 free throw attempt per foul, but less than 2. Multiplied by a shooting percentage that's approaching 80%. Result, approximately 0.93 points per foul every year, like clockwork. Here's where it gets historically interesting. The per foul cost has stayed remarkably stable across 50 years. That's between 0.85 and 0.93 band, and is one of the most consistent numbers in basketball. But the possession level story is completely different. Free throws as a share of total scoring peaked at 21.1% in 1986-87, the heart of the Bad Boys Jordan era physical play, and has since created to 15.9% today. At the possession level, fouls cost team 19.5 points per 100 possessions, and that's in the 86-87 peak. They cost 16.2 today. That's not a small difference. That's the 3-point revolution encoded in the foul stats. When every team launches 35 plus 3-point attempts per game, the math of possession value shifts. A possession that ends in a made 3 is worth 3 points. A possession that ends at the free throw line is worth approximately 1.75 points. As threes became more central to offense, the relative weight of foul line production shrank, even though the per foul cost itself barely moved. The player who committed the most fouls in the modern era, Darryl Dawkins, who committed 386 personal fouls in 83-84 with the Nets. In today's game, the highest single season total in 25-26 was Wendell Carter Jr. at 267, a full 119 fewer fouls. That's not just a rules enforcement story, it's a pace and space story. Fewer possessions means fewer opportunities to foul, and in an era where defenses are trained to retreat and prevent transition threes rather than contest paint shots, the physical confrontations that generate fouls are simply happening less often. The modern high foul leaders in 25-26 tell their own story. Carter Jr., Karl Anthony Towns, Desmond Bain, bigs and forwards who are asked to switch on to guards, guard the paint, and contest in traffic, the same positions that fall the most in the Dawkins era, just at a lower absolute rate. So who's actually good at this? Here's the most clarifying table in the analysis, and that is in the written piece at netwins.substack.com. Among players with at least 50 personal fouls committed in 25-26, the players drawing the most free throw attempts per foul they commit. So these numbers are almost absurdly lopsided. Kawhi Leonard's generating 5.33 free throw attempts for every foul he commits. The league average is 1.18. He's drawing fouls at roughly 4.5 times the rate he's committing them, which means his foul column is nearly irrelevant to how his team performs in that dimension of the game. This is a real competitive advantage around fouling. It's not just about limiting your own fouls, it's about the ratio. A player who draws 3 fouls for every one he commits is a massive net positive in the foul ledger. A player who commits 3 fouls and draws 1 is a disaster, even if his raw foul number looks acceptable. So what does this mean for net wins? Well, the net wins formula currently subtracts personal fouls at a 1-for-1 rate. Is that right? The data says mostly yes, but for the right reason. The empirically defensible points surrendered multiplier for a foul, once again, is 0.925 in 25-26 and 0.875 as a long run range. So strictly on a points given up basis, the formula is slightly overcounting the cost of a foul relative to its direct scoring impact. But here's the case for keeping it 1-for-1. A personal foul does more damage than just the free throws it produces. A personal foul forces a player to sit. A starter sitting in the second quarter with 3 fouls contributes 0 to that team's net wins while on the bench. Fouls stop the clock and disrupt rhythm. Teams that commit fewer fouls control the pace of the game. Late game fouls are worth more than early game fouls. The 6th foul on a star player with 2 minutes left is catastrophically more expensive than his first foul in the opening minute. None of these second-order effects show up in the box score per foul calculation. The 1-for-1 net wins penalty is a reasonable proxy for this full cost, arguably a slightly conservative one given the downstream effects. The more interesting question isn't whether to adjust the penalty, it's whether to start tracking foul differential as a standalone metric for player evaluation. In the current NBA, where foul rates are at multi-decade lows and free throw shooting's at an all-time high, a player's position on the foul ledger matters more per incident than it did in the Dawkins era. A foul today costs 0.925 points. That's not nothing. And in a league whose teams separated by a few net wins finish on opposite sides of the playoff line, 267 of them add up fast. The net wins database, NBA regular season 77, 78 through 25, 26 was used for this data. And possession estimates were calculated as field goals attempted plus 0.44 times free throws attempted plus turnovers. The net wins formula and all written content are original works, all rights reserved. I thank you for your time.